So for my next day, I think day 6 on my 7 days of Christmas, I nearly said Halloween then, I'm losing time, either that or I'm hungry. So I've got a sheet of white watercolour cardstock. It's about 300 GSM, which is about £140 in watercolour weight. So it's a nice kind of weight cardstock. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of doing a Christmassy scene today, or Christmassy kind of art journal page, I'm going to be doing a more wintry version. So we're looking at a cooler colour palette today with a little splash of colour just thrown in. So to start off with, what I've done is I've brought out my a couple of colours. So I've got snow, titanium white, and I've also got Indian turquoise, which is a nice kind of blue colour. But from my Dina Wakley paint collection, I've also brought out Sky, which is a different coloured blue. I've got white from that. I've got Buff, which is an off-white, and I've also got Elephant, which is grey. Now, what I'm going to do with these, I've also got a couple of green colours as well. I've got, in the Americana, olive green and avocado, a light and dark green, but I'll show you what those are for in a little while. The other thing that I'm going to be playing with today is I've got some sheets of corrugated card. Now it's a very close corrugation, but it's only on one side. And these were some pages in an old journal that I had, and I thought that this would make some really nice texture on the page, but I'll show you how I'm going to use that a bit later on. The other thing that I've got is when it was Ian's birthday, I bought him a birthday card knowing that the image on the front of the card I could use later on, and this was the image. Ian's a nut for rabbits. Don't go there. He absolutely adores rabbits, so this was the perfect card, but I thought, well, once he's done with it, I can nab it and use it for an art journal page later on in the year. So I've kept hold of it all this time, and I've cut it out from the actual card, from the base, because it was in a field with flowers and that kind of stuff, wildflowers. I've cut it out and I've already gone around the edges to get rid of those raw bits, so it will fit in quite nicely. So that is pretty much what I'm going to be using for this page. So I'm going to bring the whites, the grey and the blue, and I'm going to create a kind of washed background for the art journal horizontally. It can be vertically. It doesn't really make any difference. I'm going to do it going down the page and then I'm going to turn it. I've already marked the back of my page anyway, so I know which is going to be the top, and which is going to be the right, and which is going to be the left. I know it says left there, and I know it says right there, and that's the right and that's the left, but when you actually turn it over, it's not. That's the left and that's the right, so it is correct. I know, there's logic and method to my madness, trust me. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to just shake up the blue paint. Now I don't want a huge amount of blue colour in this. I only want a kind of bluey, kind of icy tint to it. So I'm going to add a small amount of blue. The majority is going to be white. Look how messy and gummed that is. Yes. So I'm going to add the majority of white, and then I'm only going to add a small amount of that elephant, which is the grey. So I'm going to take the brush, my paintbrush, take a little bit of the blue at one side and a little bit of the grey at the other, and I'm going to just paint. You see, I've probably gone and done that the wrong way. That's the top, so I probably should have done it that way, and paint that way, and just allow that mottling and the lines to stay kind of where they are. That will paint out. You see how we're actually getting like a little bit of a mottled line. I'm not bothered about getting it perfect at the top or anything like that. So I'm just picking up a little bit of that colour and just working it into the page. And like I said, it doesn't matter too much if it's not going down evenly. It's better if it doesn't. And I can work it backwards and forwards until I'm kind of happy with the way the paint's blending. And then I can switch it round, grab that white, grab some blue, and then work it from the bottom all the way up to the top. But predominantly this time I'm going to use whites and blues. I'm not paying a huge amount of attention right down at the bottom there because I'm going to add something else to it. So I just want kind of like those lines on the page. A bit more blue, and then we'll grab some more white. A little bit more blue towards the top. And then I'm just going to flip it back around again. Take a little bit of that grey. Just work a little bit of that grey into the sky at that top as well. Grab a little bit more white because it's a bit too blue for me. And I can just go back over with that white and then just grab and just keep going backwards and forwards until you're kind of happy with the way that it looks. More white down there. Got a leg. Get off. There you go. That, I think, will be just a touch more blue. There we go. I'm now going to get that dry and I'll be right back. Right, so my background is dry, but it's a little bit too blue for me, so I've put some white paint out and I've got a craft sponge and I'm just working the paint into the sponge. And then I'm just going to go over the top of the charging elephant coming up the stairs. Hello, Mr. Bentley. Hello, you. And I'm just going to go over the top. He's charging around with Mr. Teddy in his mouth. There you go. Attention seeking again, no doubt. So just go backwards and forwards with that white, just to break it up a little bit. Just random. Little monkey. Yeah, just to kind of break that up a little bit. But while I'm doing that, I'm just going to bring in a little bit of that buff. I don't think I've got much of it left, to be honest. There we go. So this is the off-white, and I'm just going to break that white up just with some of that buff. And it's imperceptible, really, but it is a little bit of a difference. And then, while I've still got it, I'll take some of that elephant. Again, just a real small amount. and then just randomly go around, adding in some dark legs in there as well. Yes, the coughing is Ian.
Good afternoon, everyone.
He's hiding in the background.
I'm not very good at hiding, as you can tell.
I'm just trying to work it in, just to kind of take away from that blue. Hello, monkey. He's back.
Hello, son.
He's full of himself because he's just had a WALK.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to bring that down a little bit further, so a little bit more white. This time I'll just go just down the page. And I'm not even bothering to change the sponge because the colours are so near to each other, it's not really relevant. And then just a little bit of that grey. And then just with a real kind of light touch towards the bottom. Somebody's jumping up and down on my bed again.
It's not me. I haven't got the energy for being for our walk.
Well, this is it. And then I'm just going to go a little bit of that grey. This time I'm going to mix it with just a touch of the blue, the Dina Wakley blue, and a touch of the white. And then just go up towards the top. Yeah. I think that is going to do us. Right, get that dried off. I'll be right back. Okay, so background is now dry. I've just taped it down with a little bit of stencil tape. I've taken a sheet of white cardstock and I've just randomly torn it to create a kind of wavy landscapey pattern. You know what we do with these things. You've seen it done 1,000 times before, and I've just taped it down because it's this section that I'm interested in. Now my bunny rabbit is going to go about there. So I just need to know where I'm actually going to be working with this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the contour of the paper first of all and just draw a line around about where the bunny is going to sit underneath this next bit. So I've now got a line just there which is going to inform me where this is going to go. So I can pretty much like put it back in position if I need to. Yeah? Okay, glad we've got that. So next up I've got some structure paste, texture paste, call it whatever you will. It comes in lots of different names. But pretty much does the same thing. Embossing paste, structure paste, whatever. And I'm going to put a lump of it just there on my desk worktop. And I'm also going to get a little bit of that grey just there, and I'm going to get a touch of the sky blue. Just like that. Pop that away for 1 second, and then I'll just stick another piece of tape down there just to make sure. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the texture paste and I'm just going to grab some of the colour and just work it in, and then I'm just going to go down. I'm not going to go in an upward motion at all. I'm only ever going to work in a downward pattern.
Why would that be?
Well, if I go up, I might get it under the stencil or under the paper, and I don't want that.
Good point.
You don't want that.
You don't want that.
No, I don't want that at all.
At all, at all.
So, but thank you for your input.
No, shut up and play with your Tesla gun.
Is that what you're trying to work out, a Tesla gun?
Oh, I've had some orders for a couple of customers who've asked me to build them a Tesla gun.
Okay.
So I'm going to build one out of a laser cut MDF, then we're going to have aluminium cut. But I'm doing the MDF first.
Right, so that sounds like something that we may need to look at later.
Yes.
On a later date.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to carry on working this structure paste in, just going over the top, so it's all higgledy-piggledy. I'm not bothered trying to get a straight line. I actually want it to be rough, uneven. I want it to look like snow. There you go. You were all thinking it, weren't you? You were all going, you're trying to make it look like snow, Mike. Yes, I am. Well done, you. Okay. So there we go. I know I've got loads there. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So let's try now and peel this off. So
The sky outside has gone to dusk and it's red and it's turned the whole of the house's opposite day glow red.
well, that's the last dying embers of the day then, isn't it?
Either that or the glass factory's on fire.
Okay, so there we have it. We have a nice even kind of line for that snow part at the bottom. So I'm just going to take off the stencil tape, move it to one side, because I'm going to need to leave this for a little while, and then I'm going to give it a blast with the heat gun and get it dried really, really quickly. But there, we've got a nice little snowbank there. Look at the texture in that. It's lovely, isn't it? Right. So, I know, too much coffee, I think. Right, okay, so let's get that dry, and then when that is dry, I'll be right back. Okay, so for my next trick, so you saw me trace the outline of the bunny rabbit, or the outline of the cut, or the snowbank if you like, onto the bunny rabbit. So all I've done is just cut it with a pair of scissors. So I'm just going to flip it over and grab my glue pen, which I think I'm probably going to, because I've used it quite heavily over the last few days, I'm going to just put a nice amount of that PVA. That's all it is, it's just white craft PVA, just in with a fine tip applicator. It's nothing magic.
I think it is.
Well, not really, it's just stick it from a company called Do Crafts, and I think you can get that over in the States now. They went over to the States a couple of years ago, so you should be able to get it from most good craft stores. And as you can see, look, it now fits pretty much. So all I have to do now is just make sure that that's weighted down. So I'll just put a couple of heavyish bottles down. I'll just weight it down. Just give it a minute or two, and then I'll be right back. So before I do go away, just had a quick thought. Before I start getting lots of emails from people telling me how wasteful I am, the leftover structure paste that was on the craft mat, I did scrape back up and put back into the pot. So please, don't send me any emails.
Don't judge.
Okay, so Bunny's stuck down quite nicely, but obviously I want to just introduce a few more textural items to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create, using that corrugated cardboard that I showed you earlier, I'm going to create some grass. Yeah, like this. So what I'm going to do is, I'll show you how I made this in a second, but this is going to go down here, just to create a kind of like grass border kind of thing. So how I did that was I took a piece of the corrugated cardboard and I've just cut a little wavy line at the bottom. Let me just move Bunny out of the way.
Hello, Bunny.
I know. And then all I've done is I've just gone in and I've cut little V's out of it. Just random heights, not always the same. I always left a little bit at the bottom. Because we always need something to hold on to it, and just create like a jagged strip, and those little bits will just pop out like that. So we're kind of creating teeth, or it looks a little bit like teeth. Painted it white and stuck it in a pumpkin at Halloween, it'd be great, wouldn't you? It would be perfect. Now all these are exactly the same height, so I'm just going to go in and just remove a couple every so often, just to make them a little bit smaller, just so we've got a little variation on the height for it. It's easy to do it after the fact, like there, than it is to do it as you're trying to do it, because you can't really see it very well because you've got the lines from the corrugation, which kind of takes your eye away from it. So it's easier to actually do it once you've cut it. It sort of makes sense. It makes sense to me anyway. So just keep on nibbling away at it. And then just to finish off, go all the way down. Remove that, and then the second to last one, we'll just make that a small one. There we go. So that's one, and then I'm going to just take another piece, do the same, just wiggle the bottom a little bit, and then I'm just going to cut that just the same, because I just want the two pieces, a small piece and a longer piece. Again, like I said, I'm just going to cut out all the bits first, and then we'll work out what we're going to do with the heights in just a wee while. There we go. I think on this one I'm actually going to leave all those, maybe just take a little bit off that one there, and then a little bit off that one there, just so we've got a little bit of height in the middle. A bit uneven. I think, right, let's just stop waving those scissors around, because otherwise I'm going to have somebody's eye out. Probably mine. Okay, so now we've got our two pieces of grass. Let me just zoom in a bit. Let's see if we can make sure, keep it in focus. Thank you very much. Oh, a little bit lighter, that's perfect, thank you. Right, so I've got the darker green first. So this is the avocado, but any dark green will do. Forest green, pine needles, whatever. And I'm just going to paint the whole lot, getting right down into the groovies.
Getting into the groove, literally.
Absolutely getting into the groove.
Okay, we're done.
Copyright 1984 or whatever it was.
Is it 84?
Oh, probably. No, I'm not very good at this. It's probably a lot later. But
let us know.
yeah, in the comment section below. Okay, so that's one. Then I'm going to do the big piece. Just do the same thing again. Get right into those grooves. I'll probably now what I'll do is I'll put the date on the screen because people will be going, "Mm." There we go. I'll put it at the bottom. As long as it doesn't get me a copyright strike. For even just mentioning it.
Mm.
And then just do that. Okay, so that is the dark green done. So what I need to do is obviously I need to get those dried off. And once they're dry, I'll be back. Okay, cleaned up. I've now got the olive green Americana paint. So I'll just put a little bit. We're not going to need a huge amount of this, he says. Clean brush, get it dry, because that's the key, is having a dry brush, and then just take a little bit on the edge, just work it in, and then just pull the brush across. So we're literally just dry brushing the top of the corrugation. That way we're leaving the darker bits in the valleys and just adding the light green to the peaks. So it's important you use a dry brush, because if you add any water to the paint, it will probably seep into the valleys, and that's not what you want. So don't do it. You have been warned. Says a voice from the back. Okay, so that's going to be enough. But because it's dry brush, it really won't take very long at all to dry. So in the length of time that it takes me to clean my mat, like so, that green paint should be dry enough for us to do the last final step, which is a little bit of white paint, your finger, and then just rub it along the bottom. There we go. And if you want to, you can just maybe just do a little bit on the tops, just to show that it looks as though you've got a little bit of frost. maybe. Which I didn't do with t'other one. Okay, there we has it. Right, I'll get those. Are we keeping you up?
It's complicating, is this? Sorry.
Okay. Complicating. You try working when somebody else is in the room.
I am.
Okay, clean up and I'll be back. Okay, so everything's dry enough now for us to start constructing. So I'm just going to take my glue pen and I'm just going to add a little bit of that glue just to the bottoms, and I'm not going to go all the way up each frond of grass. I'm just going to add a little bit down there towards the bottom. Which hopefully should hold. Like that. Just put a bit of weight on it. And then I'm going to grab my scissors and then measure a little bit down here. So snip off that one. So line that up towards the bottom like that. Try to get it all in camera. Make sure I get plenty on. And then just line it up with the edge of the page. Stick it down. And then I can just add a little bit more of that towards the bottom here, which will kind of give us that look. More glue. Flip that over and then I can just drop that down to about there. It doesn't matter that it's overlapping. Then I've got another little piece over here that I can just drop probably in there like that. So I'll just snip that one off about there. Oh, I'm so tempted. Give that rabbit a crown. The King of Winter. Or Queen of Winter. Who's to say? And then what I might do is just take another small piece there. Add that just down there. And that last remaining small bit, I think I might just add in there. Or should I do it just there? No, I think that detracts away from the fact that it stood on that mound. It looks like a giant rabbit now. Looks like a huge, magnificent, giant rabbit stood atop a mountain with all Christmas trees below it. That wasn't what I was going for. But hey ho. Okay, so that's stuck down. And then just to finish off, and only because I can, I've got some iridescent glittery kind of glue here, and I'm just going to put a big blob just there, and I'm going to grab my little paintbrush. And I know a lot of people who've got like stickles and that kind of stuff put it on directly from the bottle, but actually I like to put it onto a brush and just paint it on, because you get such a different kind of effect, and you can concentrate it wherever you want. I can even put some up there. It just kind of helps to detract, add, diffuse. Just add that bit of extra element of Christmassiness, and that is a new word, Christmassiness. Just go over the top, because it's iridescent. It's a clear gel with iridescent glitter in there. There, you see, there's the sparkle.
Is that a bit of sparkle?
It is a little bit of sparkle, yes. Because it does just wash off. He says, keeping his fingers crossed. No, it does. It does wash off.
No, it doesn't. No, it does wash off.
Trust me, it does. Okay, so wet wipe, remove, glitter gone. There we go. Just grab a little piece of kitchen roll. And I think actually I'm quite happy with the way that looks. I may come back and maybe add a little bit more structure paste just to hide those edges. I don't know, and then add a bit more glitter on top. Who knows? But for the time being, I'm happy with the way my little winter rabbit looks amongst the grass. Not the massive, huge, giant rabbit stood on the mountain looking down on all the Christmas trees.
I think he is.
That's what it looks like, doesn't it?
I think he's a giant rabbit. like off
The spirit of the wild.
like off the Dark Materials. He's like the polar bear version of rabbit version of the polar bear.
Oh right, yeah.
What's he called?
Yorick Bergenson.
Eric Bergenson.
Anyway, right, I need to get that dry quickly. Okay, I know what it is that's making it look as though it's a giant rabbit rather than a small rabbit.
It's a giant rabbit.
It's
You told
not.
me it was a giant rabbit. I was excited.
Hush up, child. Right, so what it is the fact that there's no landscape behind the rabbit. It's just all sky. That's why. So if I introduce a kind of landscape or some more of those rolling hills in the back, or the suggestion of it, it will help to reduce the size of the rabbit. if you know what I mean. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of the elephant. Paint, that is.
So we're getting an elephant with the rabbit?
No, we're not.
It's just to show scale.
This is the reason why I don't do this sort of thing normally with him in the room. Right. So I've got another piece of card, and I'm going to probably do it about here. And I'm just going to take some of that elephant, and I'm just going to gently insinuate just about there, some more rolling hills. There. That's better. And then I'll move it along, and then just probably around about the same height. Start from this side. And just work down a little into that section. Just down there. And that's going to give us, yeah.
Dog's got too warm.
Dog's got too warm.
He's coming here panting like it's blooming
What?
90 degrees outside.
Alright. The heating must be on.
Or has he been in bed?
There. See, that looks a bit better, doesn't it? Let's just try and... Not going too mad. Yeah, we're sort of there. We are sort of there. I'm just going to bring this down here now, and then just lightly add another little line down there, and then a little darker one just about there. Don't need a lot to create this kind of effect. It's literally just a suggestion. Oh, that's better. Yes. Still looks like a giant rabbit. Never mind. And that's what I'm going to call this video. Giant rabbit question mark. Or giant winter rabbit question mark. Right, I think that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to do any more, but just look at that sparkle. Look at that sparkle, love it. So I just want to quickly sign and date it before I get myself into any more trouble.
With the giant rabbit?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just going to quickly sign it down here. Dated it today.
It's the 11th today.
Thank you. 11, 12, 19. Sign, date it. Thank you very much. That's it for day number 6 of my 7 days of Christmas. Thank you.
Sorry.
Die quietly. My 7 days of Christmas series for 2019. One more day to go. Woo-hoo. I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.